are live. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Blake Rafino. This is Are You Serious Sports. We hope that you guys are making it a good one. We know we are as well. James Sales on YouTube says, boom, boom on that intro. So does Normal Guy. Yeah, I dig it. Christopher on YouTube says, go Yankees. You already know. You already know. We're not talking Yankees tonight, y'all. No. We're talking some LSU. Tonight, we got a big episode in store for you, Rafino's Rants. Guys, at some point, you gotta turn the page. This Eli Ricks thing, you got to turn the page. We'll talk about Eli Ricks. I know our good buddy Preston Guy from TigerBite.com got something sourced. I believe Preston. I don't believe the information that they're feeding Preston. I think Eli Ricks, he does things to get attention. We'll talk about that here tonight. If you missed it, he posted on his Instagram a picture of him in an LSU jersey and, said something cryptic. And no, there's no buyer's remorse here. And the LSU fans that want him back, no. Stop it. We'll talk on that. We'll talk on Eli Ricks. Florida preview. Listen, I did a pretty extensive deep dive today on Florida. I'll give my breakdown on what I believe and think that LSU can do to beat Florida. Does LSU get back on the winning track this week? I think that they can. There are some specific things you got to do as well. I'll talk a little Harold Perkins, some things I'm hearing. Maybe the Tennessee matchup, the coaching staff, maybe there were some things at practice that worried them about leaving him in the game. We'll touch on that as well, but he'll have to have a massive week this week to win. It's going to be Anthony Richardson versus Harold Perkins. So you're going to need all of Harold Perkins this week to win. We'll touch on that as well. Ben Mintz, Barstool Mintzy, joins us at 7:30, maybe live from NYC. Our good buddy Ben Mintz is good enough to join us here. We'll go around the SEC with him. We have his favorite team, Ole Miss, in a couple of weeks. Not this Saturday, but next. We'll talk to him about all of the SEC. We'll do an SEC preview of Week 7. And as we do every Tuesday and Thursday, hashtag AskBlake, if you have some thoughts, comments, concerns, put them inside the chat, man. Put them inside the chat. And we'll get to as many of them as we can. All right, let's get to a couple comments, though, before we get started. Brian says Bergman went yard, but it's Bregman. Yeah, he did. Dip on YouTube says Eli Ricks has to sit out a season if he comes back to LSU. Well, unless he graduates. Martin says alligator pastelaya on the menu this weekend in the 337. Yeah, I like me some gator, man. Gator's actually pretty good. If you've never tried gator, it's actually pretty good. Tastes like chicken. It's pretty good. True on YouTube says been hearing Rick's trying to return to LSU. No, we're gonna go off on that. No, that's not true. Aaron says we're okay, Tiger Nation. BK will get this program right. I agree with that. Aaron Miller on Facebook says drain the swamp. I don't really know if that's a political reference or if that is a football reference. We'll go football. But yes, drain the swamp. Drain the swamp. Crying Belly, a.k.a. PJ, says Eli Ricks' mommy said he wasn't transferring and he transferred. It's very true. Elias Durant doesn't deserve a happy ending in returning to the Tigers. Agreed. Zach, let me just tell y'all this. It really worries me that I'm agreeing with Crying this much. Like, it kind of feels like yucky. You know what I mean? Like, you know how when you eat a really bad meal, like you eat some, like some Raisin Canes, you're like, why in the hell did I just eat all that Raisin Canes? I kind of feel the same way when I agree with Crying more than once in an episode. Is that fair? It doesn't feel good. But he's not wrong. He says it's like the ex-girl that thought grass was greener on the other side. He's true. It's true. But, man, I tell you what, crying must be – crying, do you got a girlfriend? Are you growing up a little bit? It is very fair, Pooh. It is very fair. Very fair. Mick says, forget Eli Gilbert. Let him ride the pine at Bama. Yeah, he's definitely riding the pine. Heard's not all he's riding. Roderick says, Gator good. Yeah, Gator is good. Y'all gonna hammer me on that one. Andrew Martin, is this Paul's Hub? Gator sausage is great. Guys, I didn't mean it like that. Pause. I didn't mean it like that. Or maybe I did. Jeff on Facebook. What's up, Jeff? He says, hashtag AskBlake. Will we see Perkins in the lineup more this weekend? Yes, we will. And I'll give some sourcing on that, because look, Harold Perkins deserves to be on the field at any given moment, every single snap. I do wonder if the staff, was there something that they saw in practice last week that Tennessee does that maybe Harold, look, and the kid, this isn't a shot at Harold Perkins. Guys, he's played defense for maybe 4 months in his entire life. Man, when you play an offense like Tennessee, but you're getting beat, though. I mean, at least throw him out there. But they did target him. They went right after him when he did come into the game. Zach, our producer, says BK specifically said we would see him a lot this weekend against Florida. Yeah, it's going to be one-on-one, him versus Anthony Richardson. They don't have a choice. All right, a couple more, then we'll get rolling. John Carter says, why do you think the offense has regressed so much the last 2 weeks? I don't know. John, I think if anybody knew, I think that they would have fixed it by now. But look, everybody blaming Jaden, and I'm not getting in that argument with you guys. I'm going to continue to say what I'm saying. You can agree, you can disagree. A lot of you in the DMs, like I had this guy named Derek today curse me out saying, you effing Jaden lover. You don't know what you're talking about. So what, LSU has drops. You're a fucking idiot and all this kind of stuff. Guys, if you want to call me out like that, I will send you the link to the show and you can come on here and do it. Because I promise you, when you make a burner account and you do stuff like that, dude, I will slap the taste out your mouth. I promise you. You're a bitch when you do stuff like that. But yeah. Josh Forbes says, Blake, will you be going to the Washington Paris Free Fair? Absolutely not. No. Absolutely not. There's nothing there for me, bro. Nothing there for me. Okay, let's get this thing rolling. Everybody do us a favor by hitting the like and share. So many of you watching us live right now on Facebook. Do us a favor. Hit the like, hit the share to your own social media pages. Share to all of those Facebook groups. We appreciate you doing that. If you're listening to us on YouTube, if you're listening to us on YouTube, subscribe, hit that notification bell. I told you guys this. If we get to 5,000 subscribers by November the 1st, one lucky subscriber will get $300. We'll do a drawing. We'll give somebody $300. Share to your friends. And look, send us who you are getting to subscribe to our YouTube channel. It'll definitely give you a chance higher to win the $300. Subscribe, and hit that notification bell. If you're listening to us on YouTube, you're listening to us on TuneIn, XM Radio, wherever you listen to audio podcasts, rate, review, subscribe, all that good stuff. I will be dropping something pretty massive in the AYS forum tomorrow, ayssnetwork.com. So go subscribe to that today. All right, let's get this thing rolling. None better than good friends over at GM Barno & Sons. Let them know that your good friend Blake Rafino sent you on by. We return in 40 seconds. Let's get this thing rolling, y'all. With over 65 years of experience, nobody is better equipped to service in your vehicle than GM Vardo and Sons. RV repair, big rig overhauls, motorhome chassis, routine maintenance, tire rotations, tire sales. No job is too big or too small over at GM. If you break down the side of the road in the greater Baton Rouge area, they will come and get you. And the best thing about that is that they can come and get you, and then they can bring your vehicle back to their shop and start the repairs right then. Again, GM Varno and Sons. Go see them over at 2500 Fuller Boulevard. Give them a call at 225-664-9992. 225-664-9992. Tell them your good friend Blake Rafino sent you on by. All right, let's get this thing rolling, y'all. Let's get this thing rolling, y'all. And you can always go over to our good friends over at betonline.ag. John says, at hashtag AskBlake, how close are you to being a daddy again? Well, I'm technically a daddy every day, obviously with Ben, and obviously Pooh Bear, I'm about to make a joke. You know, can I make a joke and my wife not get mad? I mean, she says she doesn't listen to the show, but my wife also calls me daddy. Okay? Don't tell her I said that. Don't tell her I said that. All right, everybody, do us a favor. Do us a favor. Hit the like and share. Share. But November the 2nd is when we are having our second child. We are not finding out or have not found out the sex of our child. We wanted to figure out when the baby was born. Look, at least for me, and I told my wife this, I just want a healthy baby. Now, Pooh Bear, Zach, Aunt Marshall are going to be taking over the show that week that I'm out or the days that I'm out, and I appreciate them doing that. Actually, I hadn't told Zach that yet, but Zach, guess what? You're doing my show for me, and if you don't, I'm going to put you in a headlock. But yeah, we haven't found out. So what, 3 weeks, 21 days from tomorrow, you know, I'll be a daddy again for the second time. So we're really excited. Very excited. Yeah. Could y'all imagine another Ben running around? Father Abear says Mekhi Garner said they had another players only meeting. I look, you don't have to vocalize that. Just say that, you know, the guys are ready to go, but I get why they do it. I like that a lot. He said it was great reset for the team. Look, we'll get into this. And we'll get into a Florida breakdown. You can win. Guys, you could have won last week. You can't shoot yourselves in the foot. Roderick Dugas says, I think we beat Florida and Ole Miss, in my opinion. Let's hope so. William on YouTube says, Blake, do you think Jaden should be used more as a runner and quick short passes instead of just sitting in the pocket? Yes. Absolutely. James says, if I win $300, I'm going to give it to my son in the form of NIL. NCAA rule really puts the screws to the baseball program. James, hit me up via DM. Where does he play? Crying Belly says, no street fair. No chicken on a stick, Blake. Crying, you have no idea what you're talking about. Pooh Bear says, if it's a girl, you should name it Pooh Bearina. Nice try. I mean, nice try. No. I mean, never mind. I ain't gonna say that. I can't say that. All good, Pooh, and we're gonna hold it down. That's Zach. Yeah, I hope y'all hold it down, man. Pooh Burrito? No. Y'all get out of here. Music says JD year 2 gonna be fun. Maybe. My mom says thanks, Pooh Keepsy. Zach and Aunt for taking over for Blake. I don't think she meant to do that. I don't think she meant to say that. All right, let's get rolling. Everybody do us a favor by hitting like and share. If you missed it today, Elias Ricks posted on Instagram a picture of him in LSU gear and had a cryptic, comment about whatever. And I know that our good friend Preston Guy over at TigerBait.com got it sourced. He just talked about getting healthy and all that kind of stuff, whatever it may be. Look, Here's what my Rafino's rant is from here's what my Rafino's rants is, okay? My Rafino's rants is not Eli Ricks doing that. It's more on LSU fans. Guys, you got to turn a page at some point. You know what happened with Eli Ricks. The year before he transferred, he was flirting with Ohio State and transferring. He flirted with Texas, USC, Alabama. He doesn't transfer. Doctors tell him he could play last season. He doesn't fight through it. He gets surgery. He transfers to Alabama. Guys, look, I don't know if anybody's told you this or if you really even care, but LSU's had a culture problem inside that locker room. Now, it's changing under Brian Kelly. You see that in the way that the team fights all 4 quarters, what Brian Kelly and this staff is doing. The culture's changing. It's getting so much better. I do know that there are some media members that are out there saying that players don't like Brian Kelly. First off, you have no idea what you're talking about. You think you're a media guy. You think you have sourcing. You don't know what you're talking about. You're a camera dude. Bottom line is this. If Eli Ricks wants to come back, sorry. Is he a talented young man? Yes. But, and people are saying, well, let the team vote. No. Don't let the team vote. Sometimes you got to protect your team from themselves. What are they going to vote? No. They're going to say no. They can't say no because they're not going to say no because they might be in a situation like that in the future for them. Eli Ricks decided to leave. He's not playing. So bottom line. The bottom line is Eli Ricks is not playing at Alabama. If he can't figure it out, Saban's defense, that's on him. That's on him. I know I'm kind of buffering. Guys, am I good? Can y'all hear me? Okay. I don't know what's going on. But it always buffers when I'm going at it. Pause. That's what she said. But look, I don't know what else to say other than why in the world would you want Eli Ricks back? Look, at some point somebody's got to God's honest truth, and here's the God's honest truth. Eli, you got to go. Eli Ricks, you got to go out there and make something happen for yourself, young man. Whether that be at Alabama, whether it be somewhere else, it doesn't matter. You got to go make it for yourself. Don't rely on anybody else. Don't the drama, the stuff, guys, he committed to LSU on literally Christmas Day. When people who are in the media are trying to spend time with their families, you have to be able to have some semblance of respect. And I don't think Eli Ricks really gives a shit. Now, you can say I'm calling the player out. Well, man, when the times got tough here, when the times got tough at LSU, you left. So I don't respect someone who quits and then when times get tough, oh, well, I want back. It's like, you're in a toxic ass relationship and your ex is doing stuff like that. No, you don't have the right. You do not have the right. You just don't. So, LSU fans, if you want him back, stop it. Like, legitimately stop it. Because it's not going to bode well for anybody. Okay. I wanted to get to this very quickly, though, because Father Abear mentioned this. Mekhi Garner just revealed that LSU had a players-only meeting on Monday. A host of players spoke, young and old, including Garrett Nussmeier. Special teams improvement was among the topics discussed. What's Garrett Nussmeier speaking? It's interesting. Kevin says Eli Ricks and Eric Gilbert are two in the same mold. Yeah. Like, guys, in this generation, we never would have grown up this way. You know that, and I know that. Our parents would have kicked our ass. You know that, and I know that. So I'm not trying to disrespect the young man, but when the going gets tough, you don't tuck tail and run. Now, I am a players-friendly person. I believe that the portal you should do it if there's a situation that arises and you feel that you need a transfer, but don't post a picture of you in LSU gear. You could have played the remainder of last season. The doctors told you that. Don't tell me anything different because we got that confirmed. You know that, and I know. You know that, and I know that. So stop it. All right. So I did do a pretty extensive preview, and I went on with Gators Breakdown host David Waters. I think that episode will be releasing tomorrow. But look, guys, this game between LSU is indicative of mirror imaging teams going up against one another. LSU and Florida have had the same type of issues, same things that have happened to them, damn near mirror images. Do I think that LSU can go into Gainesville and win? Yes. And I hate to say it like this, but this is a must-win game. This is a must-win game. You can't fall to 4-3. You just can't. After what happened last week, if you want to continue to have progress and move forward, you got to win this game. And you can. This game does bode well for LSU more than last week did. Florida's not going to go fast. They're going to want to run the football. LSU's defensive line is going to have to step up. Now, last week, they did not. Last week, guys, LSU's defensive line did not step up at all. Tennessee ran it right at us, and really and truthfully, they said they begged you to try to stop it, and you couldn't. You got to put Harold Perkins back on the field. Now, I understand and have talked to some people inside that building. Maybe what Tennessee did was a little bit too advanced for Harold Perkins, and that's not a shot. Look, he hasn't played defense for a long time, and I know that there's a big worry and a lot of people talking about it. But bottom line is this. Bottom line is this. It's him versus Anthony Richardson. Wherever 15 goes, 40's got to go. You can go to Gainesville and win. Now, I don't know how to feel really about this players-only meeting, and you shouldn't have to have players-only meetings to get yourself focused and ready to go. You really shouldn't. Special teams have been a problem? Yeah, they've been a problem. But the reason you're having to hold these player-only meetings is because of lack of execution. You can blame Brian Polian all you want, but you know what's crazy, and again, when I say this, you guys take it as me sticking up for Jaden. It's not. But you blame Jaden for so much. I have not seen one comment on this show. Pooh and Zach, if you find a comment about Jack Bech fumbling the opening kickoff, you have the authority to bring it up very quickly. I don't see you saying anything about Jack Bech. Yeah, buddy. All right. Well, you can come in here for just a second. Hold on, guys. Just a second. Come on. Come on. Yeah, Daddy's at work. Tell him what's up. Say hey.
Hey.
You didn't go to school today, huh? You were under the weather?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, Daddy's got to finish his show. Will you allow Daddy to finish his show, please?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Give me a hug. Who's that right there?
It's me.
Well, it is you because you see Honey posting. But who's that waving at you? The guy with the beard right there. Who's that?
Pooh.
That is Pooh. All right. Go find your mom. Let Daddy finish the show. Love you. Bye.
Bye.
You okay?
Yeah.
Okay. He's been asking. So we finally got a lock on the studio door, and he's been asking every day if he can come on the show, and so I kind of felt bad. So, yeah. But look, I don't know where I left off. But these players-only meetings, man. I mean, look, Florida does a lot of good things. Florida can run the football. Can you stop them? They're Osiris Torrance and those dudes, they can run the football. Their defensive front, they busted an absolute grape against Missouri last week. They played very, very, very well. Can look, and I'm going to say this, and I'm going to get absolutely obliterated by this. I really do feel that LSU's a game away offensively from busting it wide open. Now, does this happen against Florida? I don't know. But, guys, Florida's a really good team. They're a good team. And when you say something like that, you're like, Blake, they're 4-2, whatever. Guys, there's tiers to college football. There's elite teams. You have the Bamas, the Georgias, the Clemsons. That's elite teams. Then you have really, really good teams that really sit outside of the playoff. Like, I think Penn State's a really good team. I think Tennessee's a really good team. Maybe they can get into the playoff. And then you have good and average teams. They're a good team. They're an above average team. And if you're not careful, Florida will run you out the building. You have to be locked in and focused because you have just as much, if not more talent. I'm getting ripped alive in my group message because my friends are watching the show. And they're like, Blake's got on PJs. Yeah, dude, I've been under the weather, man. I've been under the weather. But you got just as much talent as Florida does. You got to go out there and show it. You have to go out there and show it. Now, here's the ultimate storyline in all of this. The ultimate storyline is Billy Napier versus Brian Kelly. You know the guys like Glenn Guilbeau and LSU should have hired Billy Napier. This is a program-changing game, and you're going to continue to have them. Should LSU have hired Billy Napier? One game's not going to determine that, but you know how fans get on Twitter. You know how fans are going to be on Twitter. Oh, Billy this, Billy that. No, you have to be able to go out there and be able to win. Guys, I don't give two Rudy Poos. I don't give two Rudy Poos how you win the game. I don't care if Jaden Daniels throws for 80 yards. I don't care if you run for negative yards. If at the end of the game you win, it's all that matters. It's all that matters. Pooh, why am I getting eaten alive? Because I got pajamas on. Man, I don't feel good. I'm under the weather, and I'm still here. But yes. Jeff says Blake's in his Walmart get up. Yeah, man. Y'all are ruthless, bro. Y'all are ruthless. The ultimate, but before we get to Ben Mintz, the ultimate storyline here is Billy Napier versus Brian Kelly. Should LSU have gone after Napier? I still believe that Brian Kelly was the guy that LSU should have gone after if they got him. But if you lose, you know what you're going to hear. All right, guys, let's do this. Let's get to this comment from Perry Mason. He says, go Gators, we want this one bad. We owe you a shoe. It's true. It's very true. All right, let's go to a very quick break, and let's get to Barstool Mintzy. Let's talk about our good friends over at Gramco, thegramco.com, though. We return in 1 minute. The South's biggest icon in sports. Does Barstool Mintzy follow fall baseball? How much does Barstool Mintzy follow fall baseball? We'll talk some SEC football and baseball with him next. We return in 1 minute with your dude. Guys, I've got to talk to you about our good friends over at Gramco. They are the Delta 8 company based out of the state of Florida. They're founded by college football junkies just like you and I am not sure if you're familiar with Delta 8, but you need to be. Gramco is the absolute leader in this field, and they have phenomenal products that I just need to tell you about. First off is the Wake and Bake coffee that is absolutely spectacular. The gummies are as well, as they're the best in the market. So go to thegramco.com right now and use the promo code AYS25. That's thegramco.com, AYS25 promo code to get 25% off of your order. Jump on this fast as it is perfect for holidays, anniversaries, and everyday use. Gramco is hemp-derived and completely legal inside of the state of Louisiana. No medical card is needed, and shipping is very discreet. You must be 21 years older to order. Again, that's thegramco.com. Use that promo code AYS25. All right, we're here with our good buddy Barstool Mintz in the building. Mintz, what's happening, buddy?
Doing good. Can't say I've ever been to Morristown, New Jersey before, but standing outside the Homestead Bar and Grill, getting ready to meet a buddy and see some music here, and doing good, man. In the heart of football season, and obviously can't remember any time on earth better time to be an Ole Miss fan than right now. I mean, you won a baseball national title, and Lane Kiffin's 16-2 in his last 18 regular season games. So, gotta say, I'm enjoying. Yeah, I mean, at Ole Miss, that's one of the craziest accomplishments ever, and so I'm loving that. Feel really good about what Ole Miss is going to do to Auburn on Saturday. Auburn just coming off at Georgia beat down. Obviously they blew the 17-0 lead against LSU. I think Ole Miss is catching them in a great spot as long as they're awake at 11 a.m. I don't think Saturday's going to be a problem.
Mintzy, speaking of Ole Miss really quickly, their schedule's very favorable, right? They can get off to another hot start. They can get to another 10-win season. How have you graded them so far? I mean, they've had some struggles early. I mean, Vanderbilt was close in the first half, but then they poured it on. I mean, but this schedule's really good. I mean, they're a really good team.
Y'all know me. I mean, all the Baton Rouge and LSU fans know that I'm pretty unbiased and kind of call it like I see it with the gambling front. I'm not quite as much of a homer as most, but Ole Miss played preseason in September. Let's call it what it is, man. You literally had 4 preseason games. You beat Troy, Central Arkansas, smacked the horrible Georgia Tech, and then beat Tulsa and kind of struggled in that second half. So to be truthful, the season started 2 weeks ago against Kentucky, kind of pulled that one out. I mean, really a game that could have gone either way. I was up there in Oxford. The atmosphere was great. But, defense did a great job forcing 2 turnovers in the red zone in the fourth quarter. Really a game that could have gone either way. Kentucky's kicker left a bunch of points on the field, but that's part of it. LSU, for our whole lives, pulls out these close games, and Ole Miss always blows them. And I think a lot has to do with the culture with Lane Kiffin's built. Last week, slept walk first half against Vandy. I didn't think too much of it. It was really big getting that touchdown before half. I actually fired a huge – Ole Miss was only a 7.5-point favorite in the second half after they were trailing 2017 at half. I fired real big, and Ole Miss came out and beat the crap out of them in the second half. Jonathan Mingo, that's been the big thing. Being real honest about what I thought about Ole Miss this year, the vertical passing game looked very weak the first 4 weeks, and Jackson Dart's a young quarterback. But the last couple of weeks, Jonathan Mingo is really, he's a 4-star talent, big freak receiver, but he's, everybody's kind of been waiting on him to put it together, and it seems like he has. He's currently leading the SEC in receiving yards, and Jalen Watkins, the Louisville transfer, stepping up. I love the running game and the O-line, and the defense is just so underrated. I mean, everybody thinks of the lane and the shootouts, and we all remember how bad it was in 2020. But the second half of last year and the first half of this year, this defense has really been a big part of the story. I think a lot of the next few weeks, I feel great about Auburn. Look, at LSU, I know LSU got their clocks cleaned by Tennessee, but that game's always going to be hard as hell. There's nothing LSU loves. I remember 2014 when Ole Miss lost 10-7 down there. Look, there's nothing, whenever Ole Miss is hyped, LSU loves ruining it. That game's going to be very tough. And then you got road games at A&M, and you got to you get Bama at home, and then at Arkansas. I mean, I like this team, but Jackson Dart's still a young quarterback. He's still turning the ball over, and I think that's, something that concerns me. But, honestly, there's a shot at a 9-10 win season. I think a big part of it really is LSU, A&M, and Arkansas falling off. I mean, you look before the season at LSU, at A&M, at Arkansas, you're like, man, if you win one of those, you're happy. But all of a sudden, with what's happening with those teams, it seems like opportunity may be knocking.
Mintzy, because I'll get your thoughts on LSU next week with Ole Miss. Jeff Lebby in Oklahoma struggling offensively. Does that kind of give Ole Miss fans a thing like, man, this was always Lane's offense, like Jeff Lebby was just calling it? Like as bad as Oklahoma struggling it?
Yeah, I mean, I honestly kind of thought that most of the time anyway. I was worried more about DJ Durkin leaving for A&M than I was Lebby.
Right.
I was very worried because I thought, Ole Miss defense was horrible for a year and a half, 2020, first part of 2021, and I was terrified because Chris Kiffin, who coached D-line under Freeze, was brought home to run the D with Lane. I was like, oh, that'll be great. And 6 weeks in, he was like, the hell with this NIL, and he went back to Cleveland, coach Myles Garrett. And so that terrified me. I was so worried about the defensive coordinator stuff. But you got to give a ton of credit to Chris Partridge, who's kind of Lane's right-hand guy, runs the NIL. I've gotten to know him, and I think he does a great job. I always thought he was more of like, a recruiter and a program guy. And I thought he was a good coach. I didn't realize he was as good of a defensive coordinator. And I think he has done a spectacular job. And Ole Miss, the transfer portal thing is just such a game changer, man. I mean, you look at Ole Miss's team. Ole Miss is like 12 starters out of the transfer portal. And so you plug and play these guys and you just coach them up. And it's fascinating to what Lane Kiffin's done adapting, because Ole Miss has never pulled top 10 recruiting classes except for, the 1 year Freeze got him in all that trouble. It's just an awesome time, man. I mean, the Lane thing is so much fun, and it's just crazy. Just grateful to follow it. It's been a lot of lean years being an Ole Miss fan, and I think I feel good about the next few weeks. Like I said, though, the LSU game's still, I'm not gonna lie to you, it's still scary. No matter how LSU's playing, I know that one's gonna be tough.
Are you coming to that game, or are you gonna be able to make it?
Oh yeah, Barstool College Football Show at Fred's Saturday morning.
That's right.
I believe it's going to be 11 a.m. And then the Barstool Sportsbook is supposed to be open in LeBaron's Baton Rouge here pretty soon. I don't know the exact date or detail, but it's supposed to be the next couple of weeks. So excited about that. I'll be there. As far as this week on LSU, I know you were talking about it, and I was listening to it. Man, I got to be real honest. I like Florida in this game. I think Billy Napier's been waiting on this. I just think LSU, I can't trust them on the road right now with this offense, man. I mean, I think, at home, in a game like Ole Miss, maybe Ole Miss, you force a couple turnovers and Jackson Dart and that kind of thing. But, man, what I saw the last couple of weeks, I mean, obviously Will Campbell's getting sick was brutal. And then, Dillinger got hurt. But, man, I don't know, man. I just think Florida is not great by any means, but it's just LSU's offense right now. It's just so bad. It's so hard to take them on the road. And LSU's been on the good end of this Florida deal the last few years. Obviously, the shoe game, and last year Davis Price set the school record. But I like Florida Saturday, man. I'm just going to point blank say it.
So, are you surprised that it was only a 3-point spread? That Florida's only a 3-point favorite?
I mean, not really. Florida doesn't look all that good either. I mean, they could have lost to Missouri last week. They should have put that game away. I actually lost on that one. Anthony Richardson's been extremely up and down. I'm looking at the under in this game. I think both these offenses are looking kind of rough. To be honest, Richardson's just so inconsistent throwing the ball. He threw for 66 yards last week. How the hell is that a real stat? And so, they got to run him. I mean, but I just think when you look at Florida, this game to Napier and this rivalry, this one means a lot. I know it means a ton to LSU. I know how heated this rivalry is. But it just feels like right now I can't trust LSU on the road. But I'd feel the same way if this game was in Death Valley. I'd like LSU. I think both offenses are just struggling. And when you're struggling to score points, I think it's really even harder on the road. So, I mean, I could see a world where LSU loses this Florida game and everybody's freaking out and then they fight Ole Miss like hell. I can kind of see a world like that coming.
Mintz, LSU baseball's been scrimmaging and they've been absolutely teeing off. How much do you pay attention? And I know that you do, but just how intense do you pay attention to all these college baseball teams with these scrimmages?
I'll be honest, not a ton, a little bit. I follow Twitter and stuff. I do feel like I have this vibe in the air that's like weird. Like the Omaha thing. I mean, Mississippi State never won a title, and they won one last year. And then the Ole Miss thing this year, which is still.
Can you bring one to LSU, please?
Well, my point is I'm feeling LSU in Omaha next year.
Yes!
I feel like it's like the cycle.
Yes.
I feel like it's like the cycle with State and then Ole Miss. And I was like thinking about it, and I was like, man, I've got to see all this the last 2 years. The only thing left is like LSU and Omaha. And I don't know. I just think that Jay Johnson's really good. And I think he's crushed the transfer portal. And I think LSU's going to be, I have a lot of reasons to believe they're going to be good. Obviously the pitching staff is what let them down last year. And so, I think they got some depth coming in and some arms, and they'll hopefully be a little healthier. But I really can't wait for baseball season next year already. And I'll live my entire life and not believe that Ole Miss national title. It's such a crazy story.
Mintzy, if you bring LSU a national title in baseball, Rafino's for a lifetime. You'll never.
Oh man, it won't have anything to do with me. I promise you that. I'm not saying I'm even. You'll never see me wear purple and gold, but. It's always pretty entertaining when LSU's making runs. And I have a lot of great relationships down there. I will admit that.
Mintzy, I know that you're busy. I'll get you one more question in here, and then I'll get you out. Obviously, Tennessee, Alabama this week. What's your thoughts?
Man, my first instincts are liking Bama. Just the line coming out above 7, I think, is damning. I think that Vegas is kind of baiting people. When they put it over 7, they're baiting people to take Tennessee after what happened last week with A&M. And, man, that A&M game, look, if Bryce Young plays that game, they win by 3 or 4 touchdowns. The only reason they were in that game were those turnovers. Right. I mean, Bama still ran for almost 300 yards. The turnovers kept them in the game. And so I feel like if Bryce Young plays, like Vegas really, really likes Bama, just the way I feel like it's set up. That's kind of my thoughts on that one. The other game I want to mention, I love Utah against USC. Love. Okay. I mean, I think it sets up so perfect. Utah off the UCLA loss. I've been holding a UCLA 10-1 Pac-12 title ticket, so I'm stoked about that. But I think Utah's in a perfect bounce-back spot. They're a lot tougher at home. And, man, I think this USC team, they're just ripe for the pick. And they got away with one in Corvallis, Oregon. And, I'm not saying they're fool's gold, but I kind of feel like they kind of are.
Mintzy, thank you so much for joining us, brother. We'll get you back on here soon. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, man. Look forward to seeing you back in Rouge next weekend. Wouldn't miss it.
You already got it, brother. We'll see you soon. That's Barstool Mintzy joining us. Always fantastic. Man's always working. But it did look like he was out in front of a Wells Fargo, though. I mean, man looked like he was trying to count his money. I mean, good Lord. I mean, how many dollar bills do you got to do that for? Okay. Boo says 24-14 LSU. I can see it. Look, guys, you're gonna oh, here it is. I guess this is Boo. Is Mintzy gonna rob the Wells Fargo? Dude, so have y'all ever been to New York? Producers, have y'all ever been to New York? There's Wells Fargo's on every corner. It's insane. It's insane. But he said he was in Jersey, though. Look, you're not going to get respect, guys. You're not going to get respect until you go out there and win. Okay, you're just not. And like we just got done talking about Tennessee and Alabama. Tennessee's not going to get much respect until they go out here and beat Bama this week. They're just not. Now, do they deserve it? Do they deserve to get respect? Absolutely they do. Absolutely they do. But they're not going to. They're not going to. And for whatever reason, yeah. Father Abraham says Mintzy's backpack was probably filled with cash. It probably is. It probably is. That man wins so much freaking money playing poker and shit like that. I mean, yeah. William says Will Campbell is a good tackle for us. It hurt to lose him. Absolutely it did. Absolutely it did. All right, guys, let's take a quick break, and then we'll do some SEC, and we'll continue to talk some LSU. If you have any questions, thoughts, what do you think about the Florida game? Put it inside the Rudy Crew chat. Let us know what you're thinking. We'll get to it. But let me talk about my good friend John Patton over at GMFS Mortgage, GMFSmortgage.com. If you're buying a new home, saving money on the mortgage you have now, or even doing a cash-out refi, the timing has never been better. Get in touch with John at GMFS Mortgage today, 225-614-1234. That's 225-614-1234. Let them know that Blake Rafino sent you on by. Okay, let's talk about a good friend over the Drake Williams Law Firm. We'll be back in 1 minute, guys, to close it out.
By the Drake Williams Law Firm, drakewilliamslawfirm.com. Whether you've been injured in an accident, you're preparing for a future with your estate planning, you're getting ready to close in on a real estate deal, or you're about to welcome a new addition through adoption into your family, or you're facing criminal charges, you need very experienced attorneys, and that is what the Drake Williams Law Firm will be able to do for you in navigating the legal system. The door to their cozy office in historic downtown Ponchatoula has been open since 1981. They have helped thousands and thousands of Louisiana families and individuals win cases, close on real estate deals, and regain that peace of mind. Their lawyers over at the Drake Williams Law Firm, Ernie Drake III, Ryan J. Williams, and Summer Vignair, are very determined, compassionate, and dedicated to their craft. It's the Drake Williams Law Firm, drakewilliamslawfirm.com. Give them a call today at 985-386-7600. Tell them your good friend Blake Rafino at AYS sent you on by.
All right, we are back. Listen, let's see. Ant Marshall says Mintzy equals the 3-1 great legend. Yeah, he is, man. Mintzy's fantastic, dude. He's fantastic. Stefan says, Blake, I was late getting in here. Did you share your thoughts on Eli Ricks? Yeah, I did. Look, no. No. I mean, there comes a point where, guys, we got to stop. Pooh, Zach, I hope I'm not sticking my foot in my mouth here when I say this. We got to stop babying these kids sometimes, bro. Like, I am player friendly. But man, it kind of like it's kind of stuff like that. Like, and I'm not going to call the kid Antonio Brown. I mean, because he's got his own issues. But man, what are you doing this for attention for? I get he's a young man, but guys, I wasn't doing that on social media. I'm not doing that on social media now. I don't know. I mean, maybe the grass isn't always greener. And look, I'm just gonna tell you. I am not welcoming him back on the team. If it's just me. Social media wasn't around back then, Blake. I'm assuming that's Pooh Bear because Zach doesn't rip me like that because he's scared of me. It's a joke, Zach. It's a joke. Pooh Bear, that's not true. MySpace was very relevant. Thank you very much. I used to play Pooh Bear. Let me ask you this, Pooh. What do you think my song was on MySpace? Like when you go to Blake Rafino's MySpace page, what do you think my song was? You're muted. You're muted. On StreamYard.
I could tell you it was a glittery SpongeBob in there, and Flow Rider Boots with the Fur was playing.
No, It was Mario. Let Me Love You. Let me be the one to give you everything you want and need.
I'll remove myself now.
Okay. Don't act like that wasn't good. Mario, hey, man. Never mind. My mama's on here. I can't say what Mario got me my first of. You know what I mean? But Mario, my dog, appreciate you. You the real MVP. Y'all, what y'all know about Mario? And then Mario came with the how do I breathe without you here by my side? Perry Mason from the Orange Groves of Florida says, I hope Nuss is better than his dad's play calling. Damn, Perry. We got Florida fans in here going for the jugular, bro. Come on, Perry Mason. Jack Davis says, I didn't know they could make a bigger version of Terrence Cody, but Florida found him. They did. That young man is like, I think he's like 415 pounds, right? I mean, he kind of honestly, but look, here's the thing though. That young man is strong as hell. I was talking to Dave Waters, and I think the dude benched like 225, like 31 times. Kid's strong, man. He's strong. Trey Patton says, how much time is Deliker expected to miss? The next 2 weeks. He'll be out this week and next week versus Ole Miss. So, look, man, it stinks. It stinks. But what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Social media wasn't there. Yes, it was, Pooh. You're just older than everybody. Pooh's like 40. Guys, Pooh's like 47. He's old as hell. He don't look old. He's old as hell. Stephen says, Blake, no shit. I had the exact song. Oh, my MySpace homepage. I'm telling you, bro, Mario used to get white dudes laid, man. I mean, let me be the one to. Zach, you got homework assignment. Go find out who Mario is. And no, we're not talking about da-da-da-da-da-da. Da-da-da-da-da-da. We're not talking about the Nintendo one. Father Aber says AR-15 is the type of dude that alone is the reason why Florida wins. I agree with that wholeheartedly. But also could be the sole reason why they lose. I also agree with that. 66 yards passing last week. I'm liking our chances. You guys, again, when you talk about mirror images of a team, Jaden had 80 against Auburn. Now, Anthony isn't having the receiver problems like Jaden is. because they don't have an immense amount of drops. What isn't LSU like first or second in the country in drops at this point? I saw the stat. I mean, so and don't quote me on that, but I mean they're top 5 for sure. You can't lead the country in drops or be top 5 in the country in drops and blame your quarterback. I'm sorry, guys, you cannot. Nolan Strange says Jane Daniels gives us the best chance to win using his legs with our weak O-line, but need to play up tempo the entire game. I kind of agree with that, man. Aunt Marshall says Blake was playing that Crank That Soldier Boy. Yo! Soldier Boy up in this hoe. Watch me crank and watch me roll. Watch me crank that Superman and Superman that hoe. Now watch me. Yo! Ba, 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 da, da. Swamp Cat says, if we lose, I'm assuming he means lose, Saturday, do you think the wheels really start falling off for the rest of the season? Probably. Because I don't see another win. Look, you got a tough game against Ole Miss. I mean, the only game that I could see you winning would be UAB and A&M. I think you could beat those two teams. But here's the truth, guys, and why I think LSU still can go 8-4. The reason I think LSU can still go 8-4 is because I think you can beat UAB. I think you can beat A&M. I feel confident you're going to win those two games. You got to win two. You got to find 2 wins in between then. Can you beat Arkansas? Can you beat Florida? Can you beat Ole Miss? Guys, there's 4 wins on the rest of this schedule. This team could go 8-4. And quite honestly, that's where I predicted them at the beginning of the season. That's where I'm going to keep them at. If you go 7-5, okay. But I still think that they can get to 8 wins. And let me tell you this. If LSU gets to 8 wins in the regular season and goes to a bowl game and finds a way to win that sucker, and you're 9-4, guys, that's a productive year. Year 1, that's a productive year. If you told me right now that LSU would win 4 of their next 6 games, I'm taking it. I don't care if you get blown out by Ole Miss and Alabama, but if you find a way to beat Florida, if you find a way to beat Arkansas, if you find a way to beat UAB, you find a way to beat A&M, I'm taking it. I don't think you beat Alabama. But look, the truth is you got to focus on this game alone. I don't feel good about this game either way. I don't feel good that you can win it. I don't feel good that you can lose it. Like, I don't think that I really and truthfully, I have no idea how to feel. I have no idea how to feel. And you know what's going to be a great measuring stick is what's Tennessee going to do against Bama? Now, I will say this. I don't know how much I trust Bama with Bryce Young coming back. I mean, guys, when your AC joint in your shoulder is messed up, if he has to go out there and start throwing the football around, he's going to be sore. So, I mean, I'm not taking Tennessee, but I think it's closer than what people think, and they're giving them. I think it's going to be a lot closer than what people are giving them. And really and true, for me, that's the biggest game of the year so far. The biggest game of the year of this college football season so far, and it's not close. It's not close. Is Tennessee and Alabama this week. It's the biggest game of the season. Kim Elam says, Pooh is not that old. LOL. I am much older, but I know who Mario is. No, Pooh's that old. Pooh's that old. Pooh was around when mayonnaise was invented. I got to stop messing with Pooh Bear because I start saying shit like that, and then he starts clapping back. Give me Tennessee, he says. They'll expose Bama secondary, or is that Zach? That's Pooh, okay. Pooh, I don't disagree with you, right? Like I don't disagree. I just can't. I can't pick against Bama, but it wouldn't shock me at all. It wouldn't shock me at all. Rick says it'd be awesome to play a mistake-free game for once. Well, that's not going to happen. This team would be completely different. So if they find let me say this: if LSU finds a way to play a mistake-free game, they're going to win. They're going to win. They're a better team. But the truth is that they're probably not going to do that. They miss wide open assignments. Receivers run wrong routes. Offensive lineman blocks the wrong dudes. They don't play a zone in pass coverage. They play a man. And I think Florida, to their credit, is a little bit more disciplined than LSU is. It's just the truth. Luke says, I actually think we beat Bama. Kelly going to get his boys up for that one. Man, we beat him, man. Edward O says 7-5. That's fine. That's fine. I mean, you could be there 6-6, guys. You could beat all of those. Lamar Williams says 10-2. Pressure, we ain't going 10-2. 9-4. Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking of the positive. I'm trying to stay positive. Oh my God. The whitest man I've ever met in my life, Preston Guy from TigerBait.com, says the Superman verse had an 820 credit score. Okay, that's pretty funny. That's pretty funny. Preston's about to have a baby too, y'all. He's about to have a baby too. Perry Mason from the Orange Grove says Blue Chip Billy is going to be hungry after you guys passed over him. Perry, let me just say this. They didn't pass. Excuse me, guys. Perry, they didn't pass over him. Let's call it what it is. Brian Kelly's a more accomplished coach than Billy Napier. You guys would have taken Brian Kelly over Billy Napier too. Don't cap. Come on. Come on now. Swamp Cat says, I agree. I think this Saturday could mean an 8-4 season or 6-6. And that's such a big swing, man. That's such a big swing. I just run Inside Zone on YouTube. It says LSU beats Florida 10-7 in 8 overtimes. Jane Daniels won't throw a pick. Let me tell you something. If LSU that means that we'd have 7 overtimes where you don't score a point mathematically. That ain't gonna happen. I mean, that's not gonna happen. But let me tell you this: if that does happen, guys, my heart can't take it. Perry Mason says, "No way, you're serious." Perry, stop. He's gotten more wins than any college head coach. Like, stop. You didn't know who Billy Napier was before you hired him. Come on now. Come on. Billy Napier was not on your radar. Stop. Stop it. Come on now. Let's be a little realistic. And he also says, I'm glad you think that typical. Perry, Perry. Come on, bro. Come on. John says, Perry Mason, we didn't want Blue Chip Billy. Well, I don't think it's not that we didn't want him. I think it's just, it's him or Brian Kelly. Who are you going to take? Anthony B. Saint says, the beard gone if we beat Bama, Blake. That's true. Pooh Bear, are you going to shave your beard if we beat Bama? We know Zach won't do it. He made a bet and he still hasn't cashed it. Zach, how does it make you feel? Zach, you're live. How does it make you feel that you made a bet and you didn't live up to it?
Listen, if they beat Bama, I will legit.
No, you won't. What was the agreement we had? Why didn't you shave your goatee? What was the agreement? Oh, if LSU swept
no, the mustache. There was a misunderstanding. It was the mustache, and I did shave the mustache.
No, there wasn't a misunderstanding.
It was a beard. You did not shave the beard.
Thank you, Pooh. Thank you.
I'll shave it all off. I'll baby face it if LSU beats Bama.
I mean, Pooh Bear just wrong. I mean, he came out of nowhere. Wrong. I mean, damn, dog. I mean, he came out of anywhere. I would too, Zach. I mean, I'll shave this thing. I ain't got, Megan would probably like it. My wife would probably like it if I shaved. Rick Cloetti. Look, we didn't talk about this at all. We'll end it here with these next couple. Matt Rule could be at Auburn next year. Could. If I'm an Auburn fan, I don't want Matt Rule. Let me say this. I am not a Matt Rule fan. I think he's a good dude. I think he's a good guy and all that kind of stuff. He's not what Auburn needs. He's not what Auburn needs. What up, Dill Pickle? Hold him, Pooh. Hold him. Hold him. What up, Dill Pickle?
Wave. He said, "Hey."
All right. He looks nervous. Tell him I said hello. All right, a couple more, then we're getting out of here. Aunt Marshall said Kelly was just higher up on the list than Napier. That's the facts. I see this whole narrative that LSU just passed on Billy Napier. No, you would go after Brian Kelly more than Billy Napier. Come on, guys. Like, stop. All right, let's get on out of here. We'll see y'all tomorrow, knuckleheads. Y'all have a good night. Peace out, Girl Scouts.